It's like the movie Airplane, the guy unpulls the plug, the lights go out.
Does anybody know anything about this? Oh, I hear me. Okay, we've got audio.
Echo.
No idea what the camera it is that I'm supposed to have. Yeah, I know. Oh, we got it.
Great job.
Yay, I knew exactly what I was doing. Yes, oh, please, thank you. Sweating bucket there. Okay, well, hopefully we're good. Good Lord. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. Sorry.
Good evening and welcome to the Board of Council's special meeting at April 29th and June 26th at 7:15 p.m. In attendance we have Mrs. Brady, Mrs. Simro.
Accessibility shortcuts, 17 items, voice guide.
Solicitor Krolak,
Present.
Mayor Harry Kelly,
Here.
Jean Hallinan,
Here.
Jen Masalega.
Here.
Absent are Councilman Josh Mitchell, who is at a lacrosse game for his two sons tonight, and we gratefully excuse him. And also,
Does anybody know anything?
Rosa is absent.
I hear me.
Also,
Okay.
she is. First item on our agenda is our work session.
Yeah, I know. Oh, we got it.
First,
Great job.
item is our public comment. Mike, would you like to address?
Yeah, just making sure once she gets the audio and video up and going.
If any,
It's working, there's just a delay, we're trying to get the echo.
okay, there.
you go.
Right, I'm not touching it.
We just want to let you know you have 5 minutes, so that's.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You know what, wait, before, let me put my timer on because I'm horrible at timekeeping. And then you guys all have received my email with my letter. I don't know why, if there's anything in there that I wrote is incorrect. I don't believe so, Mrs. Carey. I'm kind of shocked I didn't get a hug tonight when you came in. But that being said, the email that I'm really concerned about is the one you guys received last meeting, and I had no knowledge of it, the one from Chris Loftus from the Rotary, basically saying that I was a liar. I didn't know what my obsession with Mr. Fazio was, that I wanted to build a shrine. I mean, that's fair, and Chris was supposed to write a recant email, and I went to the Rotary meeting on Thursday. And he was supposed to have it done by yesterday at noon. He did not, so. You know, he's a big boy. He wrote and he said, whatever you write, just like I wrote to you. You don't write something, you put something in writing, you don't expect everyone to see. And everything I wrote in there is what was said to me. Not that I heard, it was said to me. And I know that Mrs. Carey, you're mad at me for the comment I made that you had the votes and the clock tower's not going up. I understand it. I'm past that. The main thing is Laura's plaque, and Laura's plaque is gonna go down into the pocket park. I understand that there's issues with the clock and it's about ownership and transfer of ownership if we're gonna do that. And if I'm gonna get it, and now from my understanding, and I wasn't really understanding your position last meeting, when you said about who's the ownership, who owns it, and that if I were to take it to have it repaired, that then the borough would transfer the ownership of the tower to me. And I get that from the sense that if it goes on my trailer and I drive down the road and it falls off my trailer and hits 3 cars and somebody dies, that now all of a sudden, if it belongs to me, it's covered under my insurance. So I do get that, and I understand that from a liability issue, because you guys are here as representatives of the people, and you're also here to represent our community to make sure that we don't get raked over the coals and don't have to pay for something that maybe that we shouldn't have to pay for. And have our best interest in mind. You know, had in February, when I said to you, Mrs. Carey, that here's the plan, we want to use the clock because no one wants to use it. And you said that sounds like a great plan, whatever the family wants, whatever the family wants. Now, the family, and I understand, they're indifferent about the clock. They're indifferent because their main concern is the plaque and the honoring of their sister. The clock that no one wanted to use, I wanted it to use as a symbolic measure, as a pedestal to display Laura's plaque and to celebrate and honor the victims of 9/11. I went around because I know I had a Facebook poll. I know that you guys looked at the Facebook poll and you don't want to put any validity to the poll because you said it could have been people from Factoryville, people from Newton, South Abington, it could have been Russian bots. You don't know who voted on that poll. That poll had an 88% approval rating from the people of our community. 10% did not approve, didn't like the idea. 2% had no opinion. So then Friday and yesterday, I walked around the community and I went into, you should have a listing that I put down, but I went into 32 businesses, local businesses, and they're all listed down. I'm not gonna go through them because you guys have the exactly who they were that I walked into. And I told them, you know, I had to spend 20 minutes with each one, going through, showing them pictures, telling them exactly what the plan was. And out of those, 24 were like, yes, I agree. That's a great idea. And they were puzzled when they heard that they wanted to just basically take the tower down, chop it up, send it to the scrapyard and never go back up in our community again. That tower's been there for a long time. There's a lot of people that's loving and endearing in their hearts. Apparently not everyone's, but a lot of the people that you guys represent. One person of the poll said that they had no opinion. Now, in fairness to her, she was the very first person that I polled and I asked. So that at that point, there were also 7 people that shows that they didn't want anything to do with the poll. They said they didn't want it to stay neutral. You have the listing of that. 9 seconds left, 8 seconds. So if I'm gonna be held to my 5-minute strict, if anybody has any questions for me, because I know that, you know, unless anybody wants to offer me their 5 minutes, is that acceptable?
No,
No, it's not acceptable.
not according to our solicitor,
Okay, any questions? Do I have anything wrong about the part? Because I am willing to still go through and have the clock fixed and repaired and go through the ownership. My interpretation of it is that you want to transfer the ownership to me. And then if we go back to transfer it back,
That's your 5 minutes, Mike.
That's been a question, isn't it?
don't the people want to hear? Does anybody else want to hear what the rest I'm talking about or no? We're done?
I mean, I have a lot to say about the pocket park because I use the pocket park regularly, so it's just,
Okay.
I understand listening to what you're saying, I just think there's.
I just think, you know, all I'm saying is just from the liability issue,
Yeah, we've been through this. We've discussed this at several meetings. There's a liability issue relative to the clock tower. It's a public record. We've had conversations back and forth regarding this.
okay.
You're aware of my concern from a liability standpoint as part of the borough.
And exactly, because
Is that-
I haven't,
Please, is that, there's a liability issue with the clock tower that we discussed at least for the past 4 or 5 meetings now. And you're aware of the liability issue we discussed.
yes. And
So
the
that's
liability,
my
so
stance
so
with
what
that.
liability, do you want me to have insurance on it coming back with?
We haven't even gotten there. We're not
Well,
even.
we're back on step 1, correct?
Mike, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we've been down this road. We're at step 1. There was a vote at the last meeting to remove the clock tower.
Correct,
There has not been a vote as to what to do with that clock tower as of yet.
correct. And that's
So
why
we're
we're
not
here,
even-
that's why we're here talking about it
And
right now.
as I'm a solicitor, I'm not someone who's gonna vote on council. I'm just telling you, that's my advice to council as far as the legal standpoint from the clock tower and the structural integrity of that clock tower that we've discussed again the past several meetings.
And the first thing, instead of me getting structural engineers, which I've sent in, I've had actually 2 structural engineers
Again,
lined up.
And Mike,
We can push me out on the 5 minutes, I understand.
I'm not pushing on 5 minutes.
No, but have you called me? You haven't called me or sent me an email on anything.
I have no ability to do so because there's been no vote to what to do with the
Well,
clock
this is
tower.
why we're here talking about it.
But again, I cannot talk to you and negotiate with you legally until there's a vote by the borough council
Okay,
on
and
what
that's
to do.
why I'm
with the-
talking to the board, so we can figure out what needs to be done, correct?
Right, thank you.
And if you guys don't know what to vote on,
Yes, we do, thank you.
okay, well, I'm glad that you have the votes. Thank you very much, Mrs. Carey. I'm sorry I didn't get a hug.
Well, do we have anyone else who would like, Dory, would you like to take the podium,
I'm
please?
all about honoring Laura. I didn't know her personally. My husband was a pilot is a pilot for United. He was a fireman in New York City. I understand the connection to 9/11, and I think that's marvelous. However, the pocket park's not that big. And a clock in the middle of it would take up all the grass. And the hockey park is used now for, and I'll let Katie address that maybe later, a lot of art that goes on from Abington Art Studio and also from the Gathering Place. And I just wanted to, have those around. We have been working in the garden for 5 years. And I think the thing of it is, we've been working with the master gardeners, and one of them is Gary from Penn State's Extension. And we beautified it. I think I have pictures of, you know, these gigantic flowers, the sunflowers we planted. It's a group of people with special needs that are doing this. And I think that it's really important that we all work together. I know we all want what's best for this community. If you want the clock, more power to you. Katie has ideas for the clock. You can talk to her. But it being in the middle of the park just doesn't work. It's not that big. It's just not big enough. And it would take up so much room that people wouldn't be able to enjoy the park as much. That's my position.
Thank you very much, Dory, we appreciate that. Do we have someone else who would like to address the council?
Jerry, we have to reset and put it at 5.
Sure, I can give it to him.
Okay, I'm Katie. I am program coordinator at the Gathering Place. I also worked at Abington Art Studio as one of their instructors. I think as an artist, just being kind of a problem solver with looking at a structure and seeing what you can do with it. And I think in most of art, it's a lot of honoring or representing something. So I think I can instantly look at the clock tower and see so many ways you can represent that as like an honoring of somebody's life or what they've done. So I think you could take that, like, just off the cuff, when I heard that it was just gonna be put in the center of the pocket park, I was like, the pocket park, it's a pocket park, it's a baby park. And I sat in there a week ago for it was a cave painting class. It was a lecture and a cave paintings, and we sat right where the clock would be. And we were creating work right there and kind of experiencing the park. So I think it hit me then that I was like, there's no way you could put a clock right in the center of this, and it would not honor the park or the community the way it needs to be. So I think the first thing that needs to happen is maybe talk to artists or talk to like an engineer on what you could do with the tower. I think the plaque could be there, but just some ideas. You could deconstruct the clock and make it into more of a structure that could represent the Twin Towers. You could, I hate to say scrap it to make it into something else, but you really could. There's no recycling cans in town. There's not a lot of like benches in the park. You could make a really, really cool structure, like a sculpture. There's metal artists that we know. There's, oh my gosh, I've seen hubcaps turned into like really cool art. Like there's like lots of metal artists in the area that could really do something with that. So you get 5 artists together and they would come up with 100 things you could do with that. So I just think there's so many other ways than transferring like a big non-working clock to a park that's used for kids classes, lectures, group projects. Like the Craft and Chat is this amazing group of women that go in there and with the master gardeners, and you need a green space there. It's not like a huge town, and there's South Abington, there's bigger parks, but that's a little piece of like heaven in this area of lots of oh my gosh, tractor trailers and cars that are flying through town. That's a little slice of like,
Heaven.
yeah, it is. It's this beautiful little peace and quiet that you need to escape to. So I just think putting a big metal structure in the center would kind of not honor the area or what you're trying to represent. Sorry, I get, this is like a, I'm like, I get really animated about it because it's such a, it's so big and it's kind of clunky and it's dated. And you could reimagine it into something else. And I could draw 10 ideas right here, right now. So, but I'm not a metal worker and I don't know that type of art. But I know we have an artist that does metal work at the Gathering Place for us. And then I've seen metal work around and I quickly connect to artists and tell them some ideas that I have and they can turn it to life. So there's just so many other things we could do with it. And I would hate to see it just moved and put there and kind of forgotten about, especially if you're not somebody that regularly uses the park, because we do and we care about it. And we have a lot of like, it means a lot to the community and people that are there.
I mean,
as
to
well.
be fair, when we started this couple meetings
Yeah.
ago, we said, and I talked to Dory Waters, and we said that the Fazios want to work with in the design.
Yeah.
And we want the input from the master gardeners. We
Yeah.
want the input
Oh,
from you
yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
That wasn't a
talk to
rock
artists, talk to
solid,
people that
there
are-
wasn't a rock solid going in there.
Yeah,
And I understand that there's liability issues that you guys have and there's other concerns that we have.
yeah.
But
It's
that-
a cool,
I
it's a
mean-
cool structure. I mean, it's got these like really great lines to it, but I see it
It's
as like,
Laura's plat.
yeah,
It's
oh,
Laura's plat.
Laura would wanna see it as something
now
else,
listen,
you
I'm,
know,
I'm,
useful,
I'm,
not a non-working
as you can
clock.
tell from my email today that I sent to you guys.
Yeah, I
You
think
can tell I'm
everybody
not
just-
hard nosed about, I've,
Yeah, just,
last day or two, I've come to the realization that it's,
yeah,
that the votes are in.
yeah, I think talking with a few people, just, walking by, we're like, that could be something else. That could really be
Well, I
something
would- and I
cool
would
that's
love to
that's
talk to
actually a
any-
really good conversational piece
talking
for the
to
area. So
Thank you
thanks.
very, very much.
Thank you. I'm sorry for jumping in on your time.
No,
Hi, I'm Sue Perry Bitterman. My dad was Harold Perry. He was council president before he passed away in 87. But when this whole thing started in 84, my dad was council president. He did have a lot of input with it. There was no shenanigans going on. There was no backstabbing. It breaks my heart, and I know that my father is rolling in his grave with the way that this country is right now. He worked with everybody. He said to me, "You don't vote for the party, you vote for the man." And when he taught me how to vote, he took me into the polls with him. He says, "You never pull this button over. If you're gonna vote for them, you push each button down." And never once did my father vote straight Republican. Okay, that being said, I can understand what you're saying about it being big and clunky in the middle of the park. Rather than it going, because the park, not only is it Laura, it's everybody else that died. And because of the past council members that were working on this, could you talk to your metal people and see if maybe they could take parts of that metal, make benches, make little round tables? I mean, is there something so that we can keep, the parts of the tower there? And then maybe get a little smaller clock. I love Michael's idea with the 4 sides of the clock to have, is my time up?
No.
Oh,
Almost.
okay,
Almost.
that, for each time the planes hit at a certain time, it doesn't have to be a monstrosity, but just something for Laura, for the community, and for all of our past council members and Rotary. Mr. Watkins is flipping around too. For everybody, and everybody could just please be nice to everybody. And I really want to see you two give each other a hug, because that hurt to see that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have anybody else who would like to address council? We have a lot on our agenda. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. But you're free to be excused if that be your pleasure. No problem at all. We will well. Thank you.
Not at all, not at
I
all.
appreciate your time.
It was.
Like a hug or not? No hug? No hug?
We've got our agenda.
My phone, I'll always answer it. Love you.
Okay, the first item on our agenda is our OLP SRO MOU. We got information from our solicitor on this. And as far as, I'll let you address that solicitor as far as.
So I spoke with the solicitor for the Diocese of Scranton, who's kind of spearheading it on OLP's part. He sent back the proposal, basically the contract allowing us to have the chief assign different hours and make sure that we're not short-staffed on our end. So we sent that back, I provided that to council. According to the solicitor for the diocese, the program is fully funded, and in terms of a start date, they would like to see it start on August 19th of 2026 for the calendar year. So that would be their desire and wishes at this point. So I don't think that there's a rush to sign that, but we do have that agreement. If there's any changes to be made to it, we can certainly amend that prior to that August start date. That is the diocese position and desire to start next year, rather than trying to jump in here with 2 weeks left of the school year.
Right. Okay.
Is that on the agenda for next week, or are we still doing?
You got to talk about, yeah.
Are there any other schools involved?
So, OLP is the first, parochial grade school to have an SRO within the diocese. So we're kind of the guinea pig, if you will. I know that there's other schools who have expressed interest. I know St. Paul's has, I know that All Saints Academy has, they're working with it as well. So I'm not sure if that's part of the desire to kind of hold back till next year so they can get them all lined up, but there are other schools that have expressed interest, but we are much further along than any of those other schools are.
So if the officer's salary is being paid by,
So it wouldn't be paid, but it'd be reimbursed. In the agreement that you have, I believe that and amended it, so it's they should be paid $30 per hour or $38,640 annually. But it should not exceed $38,000 is what they would be paying.
Okay, well, I think it's moving in a good direction, so I think that it's all gonna work out to benefit the school and also the girl.
All the legal paperwork was lined up. It's just a matter of, there'd be one further step that I would have to do to petition the court for it.
Sure.
So once that's complete and everything's signed, we should be ready to go. But I can reach out to Attorney Price again, to see if there's any other concerns prior to next week's meeting.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That was a good report to get. The next item is the West Grove Street sidewalk.
I did reach out to the school districts. They indicated that they had issues that I discussed last time with the maintenance of that. They were gonna bring it to their solicitor and see if they had any ability or flexibility to shovel both sides of that sidewalk and maintain that. They had indicated they're already short-staffed and experiencing issues doing so. Is my time up? So we are, we're just waiting on that to see what can be done. So I think that's gonna be kind of a longer negotiation. I know that, I'm not sure how many of our DPW machines or anything that they're still using, but they seem a little reluctant to continue on with the prior verbal agreement that we had in place previously. So I'm still working on that with the school districts and hopefully that will get moved before there's the next snowfall.
I think we can probably make good progress there. Thank you again. Okay, the next, our civil service test.
We had six officers took the test. And we have one officer that is actually, he's part-timer here, but he was deployed in the military. So he's back and he's going to take the test. You have to make special accommodations.
Sure.
So he's going to be taking the test himself, May 16th. So
Okay.
after that, then we'll start on the next of the process that we have to
Okay.
do. So 6 took it, 1 more will, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect. Thank you, Jen. Next item is our open container ordinance.
I believe the council wanted to hear from the chief relative to if there's any ongoing concerns for that prior to voting on that and advertising that, that ordinance. So I think the chief may have an update for us at next meeting.
We forgot to ask him last time.
Yeah.
While he was here, so
But I
yeah.
know the last time this is on for, a meeting that, there's concerns raised to see if there's any ongoing concerns for that, see if the chief had any updates from his end for, either citations or ongoing concerns in the borough.
True. Okay, very good. The next is our police reorganization.
The regionalization, yes.
Regionalization, excuse me.
I was waiting to hear from Josh on that. I haven't yet, so if we want to probably postpone that. I did let Joanne Payne with South Ave know that we wanted to, the chiefs met. We wanted to move forward, but she wanted more of an outline as to what's going to be discussed. So we need to get more detailed info. So I will be in, I'll catch up with Josh on that and
Sure,
we can go from there.
very good. Thank you, Jen.
Mhm.
And the next is our memorial done by Scott Nichols for our Veterans Park. And I just wanted to report at the work session that the Liberty Bell has been completed and that next week we'll be voting on our grant that we're getting for $1,000. Jen, to go towards our Liberty Bell for the Veterans Park. Also, $4,000 was donated by the VFW, and that will take care of the price of the the Liberty Bell. In the meantime, Mark Schiffer, who is also the masonry teacher at Abington Heights, through Chris Schaefer, the superintendent, was able to get cement donated from Masters Cement Company. They delivered the cement. Mark had the students do all the work on the cement. And he wasn't contented the way it looked. So he went to one of the contractors and got $1,700 worth of stone donated to the Veterans Park. And he also got big slab that will go over the top of this that the Liberty Bell will sit on, donated. This has cost the borough, everything has been donated for this big project. The VFW has come out strong for it, and all the people that have worked on it. So, we're just thrilled to death. We're gonna do the unveiling of this, the Saturday before Memorial Day. So we're hoping to get a lot of good coverage on this because this has been a very heartwarming project to be done for our veterans, and we're extremely proud of it. So we definitely are very grateful for everybody that has worked on this too. So, if anybody has any questions? we'll- Okay, and the next is 2026 paving bills, Jan.
Bids, yeah.
Bids.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 to open, so. Buckle up. I remember the last time it was a little touch and go. Poor drill. Okay. There we go. So the first one is Waco. It's WAYCO. Their bid is 184,233. This is for Clark Avenue, by the way. We said that already, just.
Are these all for Clark Avenue?
Yes,
Jan?
yes, we only have the one job.
Sure.
The second one is from H&K Group. Their amount is $289,397.53. M&J Excavating, 223,630. It's the same thing. It's M&J. They submitted it 2 different ways, but it's the same. Too. The first key, 183,957.
What was that amount again, Jen?
183,957. American Asphalt Paving, 328,290. Last one is Pensy Supply, and they're 243,150. So that is between this and so the lowest bid as of right now was 183,957 from Stafersky Paving. So what we'll do is give all of this information. Our engineers will pick this up tomorrow. They will go over all the bid specs, make sure everything is exactly, thanks. And then they'll let us know, and once we find out that everything is proper with the
Sure.
paperwork, that the bid is a secure bid,
Sure.
then council will be able to vote on it next time.
Perfect.
Okay, and
That
if
sounds
not, they
great.
would let us know and we'll go back from there, so.
Boy, that was quite a few bids that came in there.
Yeah, yeah,
That
it is.
was really good.
Yep, it's a lot, so.
Okay,
Okay.
the next is our police chief's letter of interest.
Yes, we had one letter of interest from Officer Kevin Yakowskis, as we had an internal memo sent down to the police department for anybody who is interested in applying for the chief position. He's the only person who applied, so then we would next have the personnel committee. Jean, Sue and Jerry would have to meet and go through that process.
So hopefully if we can do our interview between now and next Wednesday, then we can present to council how
Absolutely.
the interview went and our recommendation
Absolutely.
at that point then.
Yeah, let me know. We'll just be an email.
When are you gonna call them in? Then I'm gonna be off.
Oh, well, to interview them. I
Yes.
mean, you'll, if you could do that before,
When do you leave, Jean?
This Saturday.
You leave Saturday?
this Saturday. So if you could meet Tuesday or Thursday or Friday, I don't know if it's possible.
I can meet tomorrow. I'm good tomorrow.
You have to Sue and Jerry?
I could meet tomorrow.
What time?
What time would be a good time? for you,
Anytime
Sue?
tomorrow. I don't care. Doesn't
Me
matter.
either.
Well, I mean,
And Friday I could do it, but it'd have to be in the morning.
well, Friday would be better for me. Friday morning, but if you, tomorrow morning,
Leaving Saturday.
but my afternoon is filled.
But if we could do tomorrow afternoon,
That works fine for me.
Like,
I have a commitment Friday morning.
I have, if it could be after 4 tomorrow,
I can do that
I-
tomorrow.
If we can set that up with Kevin for, say 4 o'clock tomorrow, or what would be the best time for you?
Anytime tomorrow is good
can
for
we
me.
say 4:30?
4:30?
I can do it.
I will reach out to Kevin and they'll reach out to you. So we're thinking
Karen, can you
tomorrow,
be there?
which is Thursday at 4:30.
See, she said, yeah.
Okay, if we can get that set up, then that'll line that up very well then, Jen.
Okay.
Okay,
It'll be
Next.
fine.
on our agenda
carry
is
it.
our Center Street Creek.
Yes.
easement update.
So what's happening with that is we had a meeting with, there were 5 people at the meeting. It was productive, talking about the Center Street Creek and the project that we're reaching out for a grant. Mike, our engineers have been putting that together for a while.
Right,
We do not need actual easements from them. We needed these letters of agreement that's
Okay.
saying that, you know, we would be reaching out in the future for an easement, but it's something that they would, you know, that they would allow us on the land to
sure.
proceed forward with the grant. So I send all that information out, let them know they're gonna need it pretty quickly back, so we're
Good.
just plugging ahead on that,
Good.
so. Nothing definitive,
Hopefully
but we're
it's gonna
trying.
come through then.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yep.
Thank you, Jen. And the next is the shade tree with Gary Rossman.
Yes, Gary Rosman, Josh Mitchell suggested last time I reached out, Gary Rosman said he would be the chair of the shade tree, and Erin Torquato, who was the chair, said she could be the meetings set for 4:30 tomorrow.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, sorry, so Gary could be the chair, and Erin, who's been doing this for a while, she could be the alternate, and she'd be a big help. So we'll have to vote on that at the next meeting for the shade
Okay.
tree.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Jen. The next is our solar light crosswalks, which everybody is chomping at the bit for.
So, Joe Ravinsky, he's been working on that. It looks like we should have the funding for that. What's not covered is are the engineering costs. So I had asked, Full and Nagley to supply a quote for that, so we know what's happening with that. I don't have a time frame or anything, but it's moving forward, and it seems to be going well. So, but we don't have that quote, so.
That's a positive direction that we're
Yeah,
going,
definitely
which is the most important thing. And that's what I have given to a lot of the residents. I said, it's definitely moving forward.
It is,
So
it is.
they were happy to hear that too.
Yeah,
Thank
I've heard
you.
all positive comments. regarding that myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Next is the APBA voting delegate.
We had talked about that this was for the voting delegate.
Right, right.
So the borough has to have a voting delegate and alternate for voting in it's in June for the ABPA. And a vote has to be placed, so we need a delegate and an alternate.
Okay, I did mention this to Josh Mitchell and he was interested in it and he's vice president of council and as president of council, I said I would certainly be a delegate for us, so we should be ready to vote on that next
I'm
week.
good with
then.
that.
Okay, so you have to vote on that, so it'd be, okay, Jerry and Josh.
Okay. The next item is section 504 resolution.
Just one second.
Okay,
So essentially that we just need to, we have to assign a section 504 officer for any grievances that are filed under the act. I know that you spoke with, who'd you speak with?
Joe.
Joe Ravinsky.
Mhm.
Joe
Okay.
Ravinsky. So I think that council just have to vote on someone to be assigned that officer within the borough. And then a subsequent resolution have to pass, assign an individual who just take the grievances for that section. Basically, if there's any kind of complaints about disability or discrimination. Complaints.
Have we ever had any issues with that at all? But not that I.
as I understand, this has been around, but it hasn't been implemented.
Okay,
That's what I understand to be the case.
So we would just, and we could certainly like a draft resolution for council to vote on for next week. The resolution would be pretty straightforward. But someone would have to kind of like a right to know type officer. There has to be a designee to handle those complaints, if any, that come into the borough.
so would that be a council member that we would want on that or one of our borough staff? or
I
what?
believe, my suggestion would be to have borough staff.
I would
because of
think so
the
too,
kind of
then,
position that would
yeah.
be. I don't think it's gonna be a high volume position.
No,
But
no,
I think just statutorily, we're gonna need to have that passed.
okay.
I assume that's me.
Maybe you.
Okay. It's okay. I figured, I just wasn't sure.
And I think that Jen doesn't have enough to do. I think this would at least fill some of your gaps for you, Jen.
We don't want her to have an retreat, right?
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. And I wouldn't put it on the phone.
And the last item on our agenda is our clock tower update.
Yeah, and just legally to address any confusion that there is, I think that there's confusion about, there's two separate issues. There's the clock tower itself that was voted on to be removed and restored based on the fact that we don't have easement on that property anymore. The memorial for Laura Lee is separate and apart from the clock tower. They're two separate things.
Correct.
So the memorial is moving forward, and the plaque is being moved into the pocket park. I know there's been discussions with the family, the DeFazio family relative to her plaque.
Absolutely.
So that plaque will be moved separate and apart from the clock tower. So they're two separate issues, legally speaking. So I just want that clarified just for public, whoever's listening in the audience or via YouTube. They're two separate issues. So the removal of the clock tower is voted on. What needs to be voted on next is A, what to do with the clock tower in the interim, should council vote to rehabilitate or in some way fashion that into an art piece as was addressed tonight. And B, what to do with the memorial plaque in the interim prior to putting that into the park. So that has to also be addressed as to where we're actually gonna put that physical plaque. If we give it to give it to the custody of the DeFazio family in the meantime, if we hold it here somewhere in the borough, but that's also an issue. So there's, like I said, the last several meetings, there's multiple step process with this that we have to go through legally. We can't just donate or assign the clock tower to a resident of the borough without there being some waiver of liability, given the structural issues and integrity of that clock tower. If that happens, if there's something proposed to borough council relative to the assigning of the liability of that or transferring of ownership of that clock tower, that's certainly something that the Borough Council can vote on. But right now, there needs to be a vote of what to do with the clock tower. After it's removed from that property, since notice was given to Mr. Decker, and what to do with that plaque. After we figure out what to do with that, then we can kind of move those next steps as to what we're gonna do with the pocket park and how we're going to move forward. So there's, again, it's not just a snap of the fingers, split decision that council has to make. There's several legal hurdles that need to be addressed. And those are some. So next week, I would recommend to vote what to do with the clock tower in the preceding months before you decide how you want to dispose of or otherwise get that clock tower. And B, what to do with that plaque once it is removed from the property prior to us
I would like to know what the DeFazio family is comfortable with, if they want it in their possession of whatever they would like, is what I would,
Okay. And I know
or the plaque itself.
we've been in contact with the DeFazio family, so we could certainly reach out and
Right.
kind of follow their
That's
wishes
what I'm
relative to that
comfortable
plaque.
with. And before
Yeah,
it's
me
placed
too.
into the park, I just want to respect the DeFazio family and go by what they're comfortable with.
Exactly, and
Right.
we're all on the same page
Yeah,
with that.
exactly. We are.
And if they don't wanna hold on to it, we
We
certainly
could.
have room here.
Yes,
And I think, we did have a Zoom meeting with the DeFazio
Okay.
brothers, and, they just they're in favor of having the memorial placed in the pocket
Right.
park because their family owned what's the State Street Grill now, and they just felt a very appropriate place
Yeah.
for it. And they want also, we did send them a picture of the pocket park where they would like to have it placed.
perfect.
The Rotary also has volunteered their bench to the pocket park for this, so. And then landscaping would also be done around, so as far as council and all of the borough, they have a lot of respect for this DeFazio memorial.
Absolutely,
We
absolutely.
definitely want to make sure it's a shining star in that pocket park.
Right.
And that's our goal for the entire community. I think everybody would like to see that
Agree.
done in a very respectful way, because we do have a lot of respect for that family and what they've been through, so.
Yes, we do.
So I think between now and next week, we will be speaking with the DeFazio brothers and see exactly what direction they want to go with it. And they now have a diagram of the park, so that this will give them a lot more information to work with. And then we'll also be working on the clock tower, because we have other information that we want to look into too, that they're looking at. We'll have more solid information for next week anyway. And other than that,
On flip side is review the agenda
Oh, yeah.
for next week. In bolder print, I don't know. So if you would just review the meeting for next week, and everything's pretty much on there, so.
okay.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, that's what.
We have everything basically.
That'll be the start.
Okay, that was great. So I like 15 pages. I make the periods bigger. So it's 10 pages.
That's it.
Thanks for adjourning, right?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. So, we want to thank you for coming and staying.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good night.
Thanks.